cracking, everybody? New video. So you see the title. You know what it. I think you know what it's going to be about, and you're probably right. But before I even get into it, well, did I say new video? New video. You hear that? That's the wind. Southern California. I think all of California right now is getting hit hard by the wind. But anyways, before I get into this story, I want to just let you in on how the sports leagues were in New Folsom, in B facility when I was there. So when I first got to the CDC, when I first went to prison, it was a different, New Folsom was different, okay? This was before the 96 riot, the 2000 riot, and those two riots changed the way the CDC ran yard. Back when I first went in and I hit B facility, there could be a sticking on the yard, right? Somebody gets whacked. If they saw the shooter, obviously they got the victim, and they knew who was involved. Like, okay, that dude stabbed that dude, or those two stabbed that guy. To get him off the yard, and they would like snatch up like 20 people in the vicinity, go stick them in front of the program office, and then, hey, what'd you see? Nothing? All right, get out of here. But then they would resume yard, right? If they recalled the yard for a stabbing, they would just bring it back out the next yard. They wouldn't slant unless it was the second yard of the day, because there's 2 yards. I mean, I even saw racial incidents happen in the first yard. They ran us in and then ran second yard when second yard was. So the CDC was very different, and New Folsom was very different because the majority of the cops there had started in Old Folsom. So I remember when I would get, wind up getting off and get my incident packet, like the cops had 17 years in, 20 something years in, 30 something years in. And so the mentality there was just different. Now, that said, they did try to have a sports league, they did try to give people an opportunity to burn off steam. And I'm sure the cops were probably gambling on the games and stuff. So let me explain how the New Folsom sports leagues went down, okay? So I remember, watch out. I remember when a lot of people know Folsom has boxing, or had boxing, okay? And they had the boxing ring in the gym. Now, I don't know whose bright idea it was, but somebody, the lieutenant or the captain, decided, how about we tear down the boxing ring in the gym and put it out on the yard in the Southerners area, the Southern Mexicans area. Somebody thought that was a good idea. So they did that. They put it on the little patio where 5 Block would have had their concrete yard. 5 Block is the only one on that facility that doesn't have a concrete yard. And they built the ring there and tried to train people, and people would try to box. Meanwhile, Southerners were stabbing the shit out of Southerners, in-house, stuff all around the boxing ring. So other groups didn't really want to hang out at the boxing ring, right? So they tore that down, moved it to the backside, and they didn't like that because there wasn't really enough gun coverage, because they had to, take cops away from posts in the buildings or whatever. So then they took it down and put it back in the gym. Okay, so that's boxing. Then eventually they want to take in the ring down, period, later, and you box on the mats. It was stupid. So again, that's boxing. They had baseball. It was softball, right? And of course, being that it's B facility in New Folsom, Baseball got canceled over a hit that went down during a baseball game. So boxing's still around, but there went baseball. The baseball season was over. And basketball. They had a basketball season going, and we had an incident where that's where I caught my first shoot term with, and it had nothing to do with the league. It was just the shout out to Fresno. It was the Raza from Southern California and Fresno. The Bulldogs, they decided to gamble a case of sodas per game, and the Southerners won 4 games in a row, and next thing you know, stuff happened. There went the basketball league, even though it had nothing to do with the league, but there went that. Now, they also had football, which brings us to the story I was meaning to tell you. So, yeah, it was flag football, right? And I remember it was, I don't remember if it was a weekend, but I remember it was the Kumi team and the Crip team were in the Super Bowl against each other, right? Now, those who've been to prison know Kumis and Crips don't like each other. They don't get along. They're always bumping heads, right? Well, I guess they tried to make it fair. They had a Crip referee and they had a Kumi referee, right? Now, mind you, I'm not paying attention to that game. What do I care about that game for, right? I'm on the yard and I'm gambling. I was playing pinochle. I was gambling these 2 white dudes, right? And let me just sidebar. Those white dudes were slick as hell. I thought I was good at pinochle. They would run me up to like $100 debt, right? And they'd be like, it's all good, bro. Just give me like 35 this draw and, we'll work it down. Man, I was always owing them $100. They were smart. They would never ask for the whole thing because they made my dumb ass think I could get the money back. And I think they threw a few games and I'd get down to like, I only owe them like 20 something bucks, and the next day, boom, it's over 100 again. So anyway, so I'm right there and I'm gambling. And it just like immediately got, for a second, quiet, right? And as soon as it did, we all started looking around, and the white dude next to me was like, check that out. And I looked down to the grass, and you just saw both teams, flags on and everything still, everybody fighting, right? And you just saw blacks rushing from different areas of the yard into the fight. I think I saw a vest fly because the refs had vests on, orange vests. One vest flew. I think I saw somebody throw a basketball at somebody because it was right next to the blacks. It's down there, what they used to call Little Africa. And honestly, it was more like a YA riot than a prison riot, right? Where it looked like it was actually kind of fun, because these guys they were just playing sports, so they didn't pull weapons out. They didn't, you're not going to be running around playing flag football with a knife in your pocket. You know what I'm saying? But they were out there having fun, and but the craziest thing, and the cops busted on them, but they didn't shoot at them. They kept shooting into the grass. They fired, I think, 2 or 3 rounds from the Mini 14. Of course, they were dumping with the block gun. But so allegedly what had happened was one ref threw a flag. I don't know if he was a Crip or a Kumi, but when he did that, the team he threw the flag on was mad, right? Like, nah, that's some bullshit, this and this and that. The other referee, who was homies with the team that got flagged, he just stole on the ref. Boom, on the other ref. So the refs start fighting. As soon as they started fighting, everybody was fighting. But it was a trip because I think that was the only time that I saw, maybe it was because there was no weapons involved, but they put everybody in their cells. Normally, that's going to happen on full-scale riot. They're only going to take a handful of dudes to the back. Then they, slam those groups, and then slowly, as beds open up in ad seg, they bring the rest of them, right? Nah, they put them all in all in their cells, right? And then they had the MAC reps. Those are the guys that I've never understood it. They speak for their people, and as a way to communicate with the administration on the yard. So they let out their MAC reps. Their MAC reps talked to whoever they needed to talk to, and then they talked to each other. And then they came back out, like, the next day. And everybody was like, what the hell? Which is love, but, and it didn't end there. There was, I'll end the story with this. There was a retaliation, and, like, we all saw it coming. And I remember there was like 5-6 kumis that kept walking the track. Again, there my dumbass was playing fucking pinochle with those same 2 white guys again. But, we knew, like, they're not gonna just let it go like that. And in between the 6-block and 7-block concrete yards, it goes in a little bit, and there's a grassy area. It went down, right? But that group of kumis that kept walking laps, it was funny because they had a bag of chips. And they're walking with a bag of chips, but nobody was eating chips. So we knew, like, that's obvious where they're holding their straps. Their knives are in the fucking bag, right? Man, when I tell you this was comedy, it was comedy. When the thing went down, they caught them dudes in that little area, and they rushed, and they were all getting off. Apparently, the guy that, maybe, I don't know, but the guy didn't want his knife after all, the one that was in the chip bag, right? So he throws the bag, and it hits the top of the wall and slides down. So instead of being able to get off, he knows, like, fuck, I don't want that. I don't want, the other group to get it. So he runs over, and he grabs the bag. And he just goes like this, and he turns around, and it hit the top of the wall again. It just slipped back down. I swear to God, we were laughing, and the cops are shooting. Boom, boom. I don't remember. I think one dude did get hit. If anybody was there that remembers that incident, they'll be able to clarify. But that was hilarious. That one guy was like in a comedy skit all by himself while his homies were getting off, or whatever's happening was happening. And we had the chip guy. I don't think he ever got to throw a punch because he was so concerned about that chip bag. But anyways, that's the quick little story about the Folsom Super Bowl riot, and the cancellation of all the sports leagues for that year. You guys be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them. I'm out.